She signed away 6 months of her life to a man who demanded everything but her heart. But when you live a lie long enough, the truth becomes the most dangerous thing of all. Before we dive into this incredible journey, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. And comment below with the city you're watching from. I love seeing how far our stories travel. Now, let's begin. The rain hammered against the cemetery ground. Emma stood alone beside her father's grave, her black dress soaked through, tears invisible among the rainwater streaming down her face. Her brilliant, trusting father was gone. She didn't know then that the worst was yet to come. 2 days later, Emma sat across from her father's attorney and watched her world crumble. The words hit like punches. Debt, foreclosure, bankruptcy, 30 days. Medical bills had consumed everything. The Victorian home where every memory lived was being taken by the bank. You have 30 days to vacate, the lawyer said. Emma was 26, alone, and about to be homeless. That night, she sat on her bedroom floor surrounded by boxes and let herself break completely. As dawn broke, a knock came at the door. The man on her porch looked like he'd stepped from a billionaire's magazine. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a suit that cost more than her car. His face was striking sharp jawline, intense gray eyes, dark hair perfectly styled. Handsome in that cold, untouchable way that made you feel small. "Miss Thompson," he said, his voice a deep baritone without warmth. "My name is Nathaniel Cross. I need to speak with you." Emma knew who he was. Everyone did. Nathaniel Cross, legal legend, corporate shark, ruthless and brilliant. "If you're here to offer legal services, I can't afford you," Emma said. "I can barely afford groceries." Something flickered in those gray eyes. Calculation, not sympathy. "I'm not here to offer services," he said, stepping inside uninvited. "I'm here to make you an offer. I will pay off every cent of your father's debt. I will save this house. You will lose nothing." Hope pierced through Emma's grief, sharp and painful. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you do that?" "In exchange," he said, his voice dropping, "you will marry me." The room tilted. Emma grabbed a chair to steady herself. What? A marriage. Legal and binding. For 6 months. "Are you insane?" Shock gave way to anger. "You can't just propose a fake marriage like you're ordering takeout." "I can. And I just did." He pulled out a thick folder. "This is the contract. Read it carefully." "Why me? Why this?" "That's not your concern," he said sharply. "In 30 days, you'll watch strangers carry your mother's china away. Or you can sign and keep everything." It was manipulation. Pure. And calculated. But it was truth. "What are the terms?" "You'll move into my penthouse. We'll attend events as a married couple. In public, we appear devoted. In private, we're strangers." He paused, gray eyes boring into hers. "There is one non-negotiable condition. No emotional involvement. No romance. No intimacy. No affection when alone. If you develop feelings, if you cross any line, the contract is void. The debts return. You lose everything." The cruelty took her breath away. He wanted salvation but demanded she surrender her humanity. Emma looked at this cold, beautiful man and felt hatred. But then she thought of her father, of losing everything. 24 hours to decide," Nathaniel said. "I'll send a car tomorrow at 9. Emma read the contract all night. Every word confirmed her fears. This wasn't marriage, it was prison. But as dawn broke, she picked up a pen. With tears streaming down her face, she signed. The car arrived at 9. Nathaniel's penthouse occupied the entire top floor of the city's most exclusive building. Floor-to-ceiling windows, pristine and modern, completely devoid of warmth. No photos. No personal touches. Nothing suggesting a human lived there. Mrs. Patterson, the severe housekeeper, greeted her coldly. "I'll show you to your quarters." Emma followed to the east wing, as far from Nathaniel's suite as possible. The message was clear. Stay in your place. That first week was torture. Nathaniel left before dawn, returned late. When they crossed paths, He barely acknowledged her. Emma wandered the penthouse like a ghost, withering. Late at night, she cried into her pillow, wondering if selling her soul had been worth it. The first public event was a charity gala. Mrs. Patterson delivered an emerald silk gown that fit perfectly. Emma stared at her reflection, elegant, polished, utterly fake. At 7, Nathaniel knocked. Something flickered in his eyes before the mask returned. "You look acceptable. Remember devoted newlyweds in public, nothing in private." The gala overwhelmed her. Hundreds of wealthy people watching, judging. Nathaniel's hand on her back felt like a brand, intimate, yet impersonal. During dinner, a warm-eyed man introduced himself. Alexander Hartley, old friend of Nathaniel's. Emma liked him immediately. "The mysterious bride," Alexander said. "The whole city's buzzing. Nathaniel never let anyone in. Why is he so cold?" Emma asked. Alexander's expression grew serious. His father, Victor Cross, was a monster who blamed Nathaniel when his mother left, raised him to believe love was weakness. He looked at Emma intently. "Until now. Until you. I'm just temporary," Emma said defensively. That night, Nathaniel broke the silence in the car. "You talked a lot with Alexander. He was kind to me. More than my husband. This isn't real marriage, Emma." "No, Nathaniel." Emma's frustration boiled over. "What's wrong is treating me like I don't exist. Expecting me to smile in public while you treat me like a ghost. I'm a person. I deserve basic human decency." His jaw tightened, but he just stared out the window. "We signed the contract. Stick to its terms." Something had shifted. Emma had found her voice. Over the next weeks, she reclaimed herself, taking walks, sketching, volunteering at a youth center, teaching art to struggling kids. The numbness began to thaw. What Emma didn't know was that Nathaniel watched every morning from his window. He noticed the light returning to her eyes, her smile, how she hummed while making breakfast. He saw her coming back to life, and something frozen in his chest began to crack. The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday. Emma was in the kitchen, covered in flour, singing badly while attempting her mother's chocolate chip cookies. She turned and screamed. Nathaniel stood in the doorway, watching. "You're home early. What are you doing?" His voice was different, almost curious. "Baking. Makes me feel close to my mom." "Sorry. I'm making a mess." Nathaniel stepped forward, took off his jacket, rolled up his sleeves. "You're over-mixing. Let me show you." For an hour, the ruthless billionaire taught Emma to bake, telling her about learning from his mother before she left. As they pulled cookies from the oven, Emma saw something new in his face. He looked younger, softer, almost happy. "They're perfect," Emma said, moaning at the taste. Nathaniel actually smiled, a real one that transformed his face. Emma felt her heart do something dangerous. She felt herself begin to care. "Thank you," she said softly, "for talking to me like I'm a real person." The walls started going back up. Then he surprised her. "I'm not good at this, at letting anyone close. My father made sure of that. But you deserve better. I'm sorry, Emma." It was his first apology, his first vulnerability. "We could try being friends," Emma suggested carefully. "Nothing that violates the contract. But maybe we don't have to be strangers." "Friends," he repeated, testing the word. "I think I'd like that." That night marked a turning point. Slowly, they began lowering walls. Breakfast together, conversations, movies on weekends, cooking side by side, hyper-aware of every accidental touch. Emma told him about her father. Nathaniel told her about his mother leaving, how he'd waited by the window for weeks. "I learned that day that love is conditional," he said, voice rough with pain. "That's not love," Emma said softly. "That's abandonment. Love is what my parents had. They chose each other every single day." Something in Nathaniel's expression shattered and healed. They started sitting closer on the couch, coffee cups side by side, catching themselves staring when the other wasn't looking. The 2-month mark passed. Then 3. The pretend marriage felt dangerously real. At another gala, Alexander cornered Nathaniel. "You're in love with her, Anyone can see it. It's a business arrangement, Nathaniel said, voice lacking conviction. Right. That's why you watch her like she's the only person in the room. Nathaniel couldn't deny it. He'd fallen completely, irrevocably in love, and by contract terms, loving her meant losing her. That night, he stood outside Emma's door, wanting to tell her everything, but confession would void the agreement. She'd lose everything. So he walked away. On the other side, Emma heard his footsteps. She'd been lying awake, her heart full of the same dangerous truth. She was falling for him, and it was like trying to stop the tide. The 4th month brought crisis. Emma's best friend was getting married in her hometown. "There's a wedding this weekend," she told Nathaniel over breakfast. "I was hoping I could go." "Alone?" His expression was unreadable. "It's just a small wedding. You don't have to come. If you're my wife, your friends are my responsibility too. We'll go together." The small-town wedding was a revelation. At the barn reception with string lights and wildflowers, they danced. Really danced. Nathaniel pulled Emma close. Perfect fit. Her head on his chest. "I love this song," Emma murmured. "My parents danced to it at their wedding." As they swayed, Emma told him happy memories, bike rides, Sunday dinners, game nights. Nathaniel listened and felt something break open inside. This is what he'd missed. The simple joy of being known and held. When the song ended, they stood wrapped in each other's arms. Nathaniel's hand cupped Emma's face. She looked up, eyes shining, and he saw his feelings reflected back. "Emma," he whispered, voice raw. May I cut in?" The bride's father appeared. The moment shattered. Nathaniel stepped back, walls slamming into place. Emma flinched. On the drive home, silence suffocated them. Emma stared out the window, heart aching. She knew they'd almost crossed the line, and she knew with terrible certainty she loved him. "Emma," Nathaniel said suddenly, "what happens when 6 months are over? We get divorced." "As agreed." "And then? You move back? We never see each other again?" His knuckles went white on the steering wheel. "Damn the contract." He pulled over, turning to face her, expression raw and desperate. "Emma, I can't pretend anymore. I can't act like you're just business when you're everything. You're absolutely everything, Nathaniel. I'm in love with you," he said, words tumbling out. "I started falling the day you stood in that kitchen covered in flour, singing off-key. You brought color to my gray world. You made me laugh. You made me feel. You made me want to be a better man." Tears streamed down Emma's face. "But the contract. I don't care about the contract. I'll pay the penalties. I'll do whatever it takes. I just need to know if there's any chance you could feel the same." Emma cried and laughed simultaneously. "You idiot. I've been in love with you for months. Every smile over coffee. Every time you let me see the real you. I'm so in love with you it terrifies me." Nathaniel made a sound between laugh and sob, pulling her into his arms. He kissed her like a drowning man finding air. Emma kissed back, with all the love she'd been suppressing. When they broke apart, breathless, Nathaniel rested his forehead against hers. "I never want to be without you again. You're mine, Emma." "I'm yours," Emma whispered. "No more contracts. Just us." The next day, Nathaniel voided the contract, paying every penalty. "None of it matters," he told his shocked lawyers. "Only she matters." But voiding the contract meant Emma's debts would return. The house would be lost. When Nathaniel told her, she wrapped her arms around him and smiled. "It's just a house. You're my home now." A week later, Nathaniel took Emma to her father's house. The for sale sign was gone. New shutters. The garden restored. Rose bushes blooming. "What did you do?" Emma gasped. "I bought it. Settled the debts. Put it in your name. It's yours forever. No strings, no contracts. Just a gift from a man who loves you." Emma burst into tears. Nathaniel held her. "You saved this house once with a contract. Now I'm saving it with a promise. I promise to love you for the rest of my life." 3 months later, They stood in that garden renewing vows, not in a cold office but surrounded by flowers and friends. Emma wore a simple white dress she'd designed. Nathaniel wore pure adoration. "I met you on the worst day of my life," Emma said. "I thought you were my enemy. But you weren't the prison. You were the key. You taught me that strength is putting yourself back together with someone you trust. You showed me the greatest love stories are the ones we choose every single day." "I built my life on control because I was terrified," Nathaniel said, voice thick with emotion. "Then you crashed into my world with your courage and impossible heart, and demolished every wall I'd spent 30 years building. You taught me love isn't weakness. It's the only thing that makes us strong. I choose you today, tomorrow, and every day for the rest of my life." When they kissed, Emma tasted salt. Nathaniel was crying tears of joy, unashamed. It was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. But their story didn't end there. Real love is about the life you build after. Nathaniel stepped back from corporate law to focus on pro bono work. "I spent 30 years helping rich people get richer. I want to spend the next 30 helping people who actually need it." Together, they founded the Thompson Foundation, providing legal aid to families facing medical debt. They were a team, strengths complementing perfectly. Marriage wasn't always easy. Nathaniel's walls tried to go back up. Emma's grief returned in waves. But they'd promised to choose each other, especially on hard days. When Nathaniel retreated, Emma pulled him back. When Emma's grief threatened to drown her, Nathaniel held her. 2 years after their real wedding, Emma woke to Nathaniel holding a wrapped box. "Happy anniversary." Inside was a key, with an address engraved on it. "What is this?" "The building next to your father's house. I converted it into an arts center, studios for artists, classrooms for kids, a gallery. We can run it together. You've always talked about helping young artists. Now you can." Emma stared at this man who made her dreams real and fell in love all over again. "You're incredible. I never get tired of hearing it," he said, pulling her close. That afternoon, walking through the arts center, Emma realized something profound. The contract had been based on lies and fear, but the life they'd built was based on trust, vulnerability, and the courage to love. "Do you ever regret it?" Emma asked in the main gallery, sunlight streaming through windows. "That day you knocked with that crazy proposal?" Nathaniel pulled her close. "Every day," he said, and Emma stiffened until she heard his smile. "I regret I didn't know you sooner. I regret the years I spent alone, believing I didn't deserve love. I regret every moment before you showed me what living means." He turned her to face him, cupping her face. "But I don't regret that contract. It brought me you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me." Emma kissed him, soft and full of promise. "I love you, Nathaniel Cross. My husband, my partner, my home. I love you, Emma Cross. Today, tomorrow, and every day after." They stood in the gallery, surrounded by empty walls waiting for art, in the building that would become a haven for dreamers, in the neighborhood where Emma's father had built his life. Their story, which started with the coldest contract, had become the warmest, truest, most beautiful love story either could have imagined. Because sometimes, the greatest love stories begin in the darkest places. Sometimes, the strongest bonds are forged in desperation. And sometimes, a contract written to prevent love becomes the very thing that makes love possible. Emma and Nathaniel learned that love isn't about perfect beginnings. It's about imperfect people choosing each other every single day. It's about walls coming down brick by brick. It's about finding someone who sees all your broken pieces and loves you not despite them, but because of them. Their 6-month contract had ended long ago, but their lifetime promise made not in a lawyer's office, but in a garden full of roses. Not with signatures, but with hands joined and hearts open. That promise was just beginning. Every day, they chose to honor it. Every day, they chose each other. Every day, they proved that love, real, raw, courageous love, is worth every risk, every vulnerability, every moment of fear. Because in the end, Love is the only contract worth signing, and theirs was written in forever.